Blessed are the persecuted. And in Matthew chapter 5 verse 10 onwards to verse 12, Jesus makes some very profound statements as they relate to the experience of being persecuted. And Jesus qualifies the value and blessing of persecution if that persecution is based upon us standing for righteousness' sake. So he did not simply stop there by saying, blessed are the persecuted. No, beloved. So you see, because we can invite persecution on ourselves as a result of our bad attitudes, our negative spirits, our sins, our failings, our falterings, and our shortcomings. And so Christ draws a line in the sand and he identifies that persecution that is as a result of us standing up for righteousness is a blessing. And the beautiful thing about this is that when we stand for Christ, he stands for us. And because he's now standing for us, wherever his presence is, there is a blessing. And he identifies also that there is a reward for standing up for righteousness, because the devil tries to tempt us to believe that standing up for righteousness is a vain endeavor. But Christ is giving you comfort to let you know that to stand up for righteousness is not an exercise in futility. And so he says, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. There is a reward for standing up for righteousness, even though we know that it can bring persecution upon ourselves. And he comforts us by telling us in verse 11 that blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely. And once more he qualifies it that these things, we are only blessed if we experience these things for his sake. When we are jealous for the glory of God, when we are standing up for the character of God, when we are bearing within us the character of Jesus Christ that invites persecution. And understand, beloved, there's a cost associated, there's a cost attached in being like Jesus. Do not fool yourself into thinking that when you become like Jesus, that the road is going to be paved with beautiful flowers. No, when you choose to be like Jesus, it brings persecution on you. And Christ reminds you that you are being like him. You are standing for him. And once you stand for him by being like him, it's going to bring persecution on you. And when you do this, you are blessed. And we must understand, beloved, it's not simply the act of standing up for the right and that which is right that you are blessed. It's standing up for the right by being like Jesus Christ. And when we are like Jesus Christ, it brings persecution down on us, because the devil hates Christ, and he hates Christ formed within our characters. And Christ comforts us in verse 12 by saying, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. Your reward in heaven, beloved, is great when you are persecuted for righteousness' sake. And righteousness' sake is being like Jesus, because we can stand up for the right in the wrong manner. We can stand up for the truth in the wrong way. And so, beloved, the persecution comes upon us as a result of us standing up for righteousness' sake by being like Jesus. And it shows that you are God's child. It shows that he is your master. The persecution for righteousness' sake, it shows which side you are on, and it shows that you are a child of God. But notice this, it shows that the person who is persecuting you is not yet a child of God. It shows that they are right now in this present moment a tool in the hand of the devil to inflict pain and discomfort to you. And you must understand this because your perspective of the situation must be pure enough that you can still pray for that person who is persecuting you, because they are just tools presently in the hand of the enemy. So do not take the persecution personal, because Saul was persecuting the children of God before he became a child of God. But Christ was able to reach his heart because of his motives. He was misguided in his religious zeal, and so Christ saw the honesty and the integrity of Paul's heart. And so even though a person may be used by the devil to persecute you, do not be bitter at them, beloved. You can still pray for them, and this is the reason that you are being persecuted for righteousness' sake, because you have made a choice to be like Jesus. And Christ identifies that the reason you are being persecuted is because you are being like Jesus, and he comforts you to understand that you have a reward in heaven. So persecuted they the prophets which were before you. And let us pause a moment at the thought that being persecuted for righteousness' sake brings you a reward in heaven. And remember it, because sometimes the heat under the persecution can be increased, and you can become even discouraged, and you can lose your grip off of Christ. You can become afraid. Beloved, be sure to hold fast to that which you have, and let no man take your crown. Be sure to strengthen the things that remain. Be sure to guard your experience with Christ, and do not allow self-righteousness to come in at the moment to think that you are better than anybody else simply for the fact that you are being persecuted. Persecution, beloved, is a privilege. Persecution for righteousness' sake is a privilege that Christ has entrusted to you. So do not cast this privilege away by allowing pride and self-righteousness to come in. It is Christ who is keeping you in that moment of fire because you have been faithful to him. So hold fast to your faithfulness and do not throw away your relationship with Christ. Hold fast because there is a reward for your righteousness. So keep your eyes firmly focused upon Jesus Christ, and do not allow your reward to be taken from you, because you know what, beloved? The workman is worthy of his hire, and you must understand that justice and judgment is about giving every individual what they have worked for, and every sacrifice that you have made, every hardship that you have experienced, every negative word, every opportunity that every negative word that you have experienced, every opportunity that has been deprived from you as a result of your convictions of standing upon biblical truth, every disheartening experience that you have passed through, there is a reward for each and every one of these things. Do not allow the devil to steal it from you by discouragement and by giving up. Hold fast to that which you have. Let no man take your crown. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. This is the word of life with Andre Knight.